I know what it feels like to be sitting there at night wondering, are you going to receive a message? Having your heart beating because you're wondering if they love you, wondering what time he's going to come home at night. I can tell you, this is not a comfortable experience. If you suffer from relationship anxiety, don't you just know how exhausting it is, how paralyzing it is, how much energy it asks for you to take away from your actual life that you're wanting to live? In this video, I'm going to go straight into why we have relationship anxiety, where the stems that it comes from, how to handle it, and basically so you can come into a way of being like, oh my God, my mind is not overthinking and I'm just in pure enjoyment of my own life and my relationship. Hi gorgeous, I'm Katy, somatic sexologist and relationships coach, and I'm gonna go straight into it and just kind of explain a little bit. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you're experiencing somewhat relationship anxiety or you're thinking that you are. Relationship anxiety can really make you feel like you're walking on eggshells, literally like you are losing your mind and like you're over-analyzing everything that is thrown at you in life or just your relationship. You may receive a message from your partner and you're completely analyzing the way that the tone of message has come through. So maybe let's say there was no emoji, there's no kiss, there's a full stop at the end, it's really sharp. You would sit there thinking, oh my God, what have I done wrong? Am I good enough? What I said, was it aligned with what he was actually feeling, and why is this coming back to me? This doesn't really support our internal system and the feelings of it. And I'm going to come into how we can actually navigate through this, because obviously you're sitting there maybe wondering what is happening when you're doing this, or actually feeling this right now. It's not a fun way to be. Another way that relationship anxiety shows up is needing for validation or approval, feeling it within you but not actually asking for it. It can actually be really soothing in a relationship if you can ask for that the validation or the approval. It might not always be healthy. It can be soothing in the way that you know that you're being cared for and loved for in a healthy way, and as you navigate your anxious attachment style, the relationship anxiety, the more that you can support yourself in this moving forward, your partner is kind of meeting you in the middle and matching you at that, but you can't just rely on his validation or approval to make you feel good within yourself. This is such an internal journey, and something that I teach inside my School of Sensuality is really building your own approval and your own validation for yourself, because no matter what happens on the outside and you're in external world, if you don't feel secure within yourself, if your self-love cup isn't full, if you are lacking your self-worth, no matter anyone else's validation or approval, it just won't feel right for you, because inside of you, you're not feeling that. So if our cup is empty, how can we pour into this? So this is a really good moment to build your self-love, exactly what I teach inside the School of Sensuality. Simple little exercises from maybe 3 to 5 minutes that's going to support you connecting with your own body, connecting with your own self-love, so you can feel more secure within your body, within yourself, within your relationship. There's less anxiousness and there's less fire going on the other side. Another way that this shows up in the relationship is assuming that your partner doesn't love you or he's not responding on messages when simply he's just busy. Think about it. We all have our own individual lives, and then you have the relationship. You need time for the relationship just like you need time for your work. You need time for your individual self. You need time for your friends. We can't put everything into the one basket of our relationship. We need the others to support us on our own journey through life as well. It's very common for the anxious mind to go to the worst case scenario, to think, oh my God, who is he with? Who is he taking out for dinner? Who's getting into his car? And is he even going to come home tonight? Like, this is your brain wired for fear, not love. You may think that this anxious attachment and all this like gratting that you're doing towards him is love, but it's really not. Is it healthy? Can you ask yourself, the way that you're feeling in this anxious attachment style right now, or walking on eggshells in your relationship, is this healthy? Is this what your body needs? Or you're like, fuck, this is exhausting. I want to change from this because I know exactly how it felt. I remember the day that my anxious attachment style, the anxiety in the relationship was just sky high. I was like, I cannot live like this anymore. I cannot deal with the emotional toll that comes from being anxious in a relationship, because I was with an avoidant partner at the time. Generally, an anxious attachment style will attract an avoidant attachment style, what that means is the anxious will come running and the avoidant cannot deal with the emotion, so he will avoid. Exactly what I've experienced in my life, and I'm guessing you have experienced something similar as well. So from that moment, I took control of my own thoughts, my own life, and I was like, I cannot and do not want to be anxiously attached anymore. I need to help myself within this. I reached out for support, and I also read the book Anxiously Attached. So I'm going to link that here and below. This book literally changed my life overnight. Yes, I spent hours listening to this book, and I'm going to break it down so simple in a way for you really to understand. So let's say, why do we have this anxious attachment style? Where is it coming from? And the two biggest wounds is abandonment and rejection. And this comes from how you grew up in your childhood predominantly, or if you've had unhealthy relationship experiences in the past. So I'm going to use the abandonment. Were you someone whose parents weren't really present in their life? Were you someone who came home from school and were just home by yourself, wondering what time your parents were going to come home from work? Were you someone that on the weekend your dad was late to pick you up? Were you the child that was stood there with the friends and everyone else's friend got picked up and you're waiting for an hour because your dad forgot about you, or your mum, or whoever that may be, maybe your nana or your sister? Those moments that we had in our childhood really affect our relationship with love. And so when we're at a young age, we expect love from our parents, from our grandparents, from our friends, from our family. And when little things like this happen, it affects our subconscious and how we actually feel and see love. So here's my question to you. If you are obviously in an anxious attachment style watching this video, think back, maybe let's do this exercise together. Close down your eyes. Take a long, deep breath in and out, and exhale. And now ask yourself, when was I abandoned by my parents or my caregivers in my childhood? And there may be an answer that comes up to you right now. There may be a feeling or emotion such as, oh my God, I remember this one time I was 5 years old and I was lost in the shopping center and I didn't know where my parents was and I was sweating and getting all hot and I just needed love, but they weren't around because I'd lost myself. Is that a moment that arises? Are you, for example, in this vision of feelings right now? Were you in school as a child, sitting there, it's going dark, the cleaners are turning off the lights and you're thinking, oh my God, is my mum ever going to come and pick me up right now? These moments really affect how we show up in relationships and how we show up in this anxious attachment style. And so if you're noticing, okay, I did have these things, can you allow yourself to feel this in your body and like, whoa, Katie, this makes so much sense. These experiences that I'm sharing with you are coming across in a way that love felt unsafe to us when we were younger. And so now we have the awareness around it. And I'm so proud of you for actually helping yourself and the self-development, watching these videos. It's like, how can we change this moving forward? How can we build a new relationship with love and let go of this anxious attachment style? Well, first, I already covered a little bit before. It's about building the self-love with yourself. And the second one is simply building safety within your own body. So if you are someone who is constantly anxious, racing mind, chest is pulsing, sweating, feeling anxious, in those moments, can you witness the anxiety? And by that, I mean, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now. My partner has triggered an emotional response within me, and I am reacting to this happening. I am not actually reacting because of what is the issue now. I am reacting because my nervous system is a little bit frazzled because of the experiences I've had in my past. When you can start understanding this and noticing this is what's coming out in your relationship, naturally over time, the anxiety that you're experiencing with your partner will gradually start to soften. And I touched a little bit on safety, so I'm going to expand on how we can create safety in our own bodies. So just taking a moment throughout your day, not when you're on your phone, when you're distracted, a moment you can just be, ask yourself, how can I feel safe in my own body? What does that look like? What do I need in my own lifestyle, my own day-to-day routine, and my relationship to support the safety that I feel? No matter how much safety your man can give you, because this is the role of the masculine in the relationship, no matter how much safety he can give you in the relationship, if you do not feel safe within your own self, nothing gonna matter. And a simple way of starting this process is taking that time, taking that calmness, taking that stillness. When you're asking yourself, okay, how can I create safety with my own body? Simply taking your hand, placing it on your chest, taking a couple of long deep breaths, noticing that the anxiety is present, and just letting yourself know, I'm safe. I'm safe. And connecting with your younger self, the little girl, the little boy who didn't have that love, who was left at the end of the school day with no one to pick her up. Focusing on these moments and just letting yourself know that, okay, I'm here to save you, you're safe. And when you can start building a relationship with yourself today and your younger self, the love and the letting go of the anxiousness is just naturally going to feel so much more enjoyable in the experience, and you'll less be sitting there looking at you thinking, oh my God, is he gonna even message me back today? So carrying on, and the next things that we're going to do is noticing the anxiety, letting ourselves know that we are safe, and then when you've calmed down a little bit, because we can't do this if we're in a heightened mode, you need to have the awareness into like, okay, this is happening right now, how can I help myself to move forward? The next thing you're going to do is question the story. So if you're creating the stories of, he doesn't love me anymore, he's not texting me back, is there another way of looking at this? Because he's just not texting you back. Is he busy with work? Is he on a phone call? Is he at the gym? And instead of getting into anxious attachment, you can be like, hey babe, just checking in, what are you up to? And just having an open conversation. So he's not going to feel like he's being monitored, but this is also going to help your nervous system because you've allowed yourself to communicate your feelings of how you're feeling. And then as we move on through that, when you've had that conversation, then from a calm space, you come up there in with, hey babe, I feel a little bit anxious if we don't talk for most of the day. I would just love a little message throughout the day. This is letting him know that you actually care about him and you want to connect with him, and it's also soothing yourself at the same time. But just remember, you also need to implement the safety for yourself, the self-love for yourself, and then the safety and love within the relationship. You need both to make this work, because I'm telling you right now, if you've got all of this and not this, you're not going to feel safe, you're not going to feel that love, and you could be in constant loop of this anxious attachment. So ladies, have you got any questions? I hope you have taken something away from this video. And maybe, if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, you're like, Katy, I really feel this, but I'm a little bit vulnerable and intimidated, or I'm actually embarrassed to talk about this. Just message me on Instagram, comment below. I'm telling you right now, this is completely normal. No one talks about it. Probably your friends, your work colleagues, they're also experiencing something similar. I love producing these videos for you, so make sure you hit that subscribe and like button so I can keep bringing the yummy content to you. If you've got any questions, I am here. Up next, I'm actually going to link a video of why couples argue in relationships. So also, if you're feeling anxious, there's a general chance that you'll be arguing in your relationship as well. In this next video, you can really see why we argue and little things to change it, because on my channel, I'm all about growth, transformation, and evolution for your own selves, your pleasure, and your relationships. See you guys in the next video.